how far can this version of the San Francisco 49ers go? And obviously, it's only week 6. You're still in first place in the NFC West, but I'm sorry. If you do not have Fred Warner, if you do not have Nick Bosa, your uphill climb with the easiest schedule in football, it becomes one of the harder schedules in football. Turnovers, sloppy play, bad offensive line play, and when you lose the best linebacker in football, and you give Baker Mayfield the middle of the football field to expose for almost 2 quarters, you're not going to win. And it's a game where I think San Francisco should ultimately hold their head down low and say, we did not play good enough football to win this game, even if you had Fred Warner, even if you had your starters out there. They just didn't play good football from the beginning. Obviously, Mac Jones, a couple turnovers today, some bad picks, just a pitiful day out there in Florida. And I think San Francisco has every reason to call themselves 4-2 after this one.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's 30-19 right now. Mac Jones just got sacked, by the way, again early on in this last drive. It's ultimately not going to matter, even if the Niners were to score points on this drive. There's no way that they could do it quick enough, get an onside kick, get the ball back, and score again. But the offensive line broke down big time. They still cannot get the run game going. Not really all that surprising, considering the Tampa Bay run defense is elite, one of, if not the best in the NFL. You're supposed to be able to pass on them, and the Niners did. I mean, Mac Jones has thrown for nearly 350 yards, a big chunk, 23 yards just now in garbage time to Christian McCaffrey to set up a fourth and manageable here for the Niners with under a minute left. But again, down 2 scores, no timeouts. This game is over. Maybe they can just get a couple more points for your fantasy teams out there. But they got dominated on both lines of scrimmage, Sterling, and it's hard to win a football game that way. And then you look at this defense who's already playing without Nick Bosa and now has to play without Fred Warner. And yes, you can say Tampa, well, they're down their top 4 receivers. We already knew they were going to be without Godwin, and we knew they were without Mike Evans. They lose Emeka Ibuka, who's in the running right now, the favorite to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Doesn't really matter, though, when you don't have, as you mentioned, a middle-of-the-field presence, and you could just see immediately once Fred Warner went down, the Niners stayed in this game. I think it's thanks to grittiness and toughness, but you saw immediately, Sterling, once Fred Warner went down, what Tampa Bay was able to get in the passing game as a result. Fred just takes away so much for an opposing defense, an opposing offense for your defense. And it was a really, really tall task to ask this Niner defense to keep Baker Mayfield and this Tampa offense in check without Fred Warner. There's not an easy way to go about it.
When the worst part about it is you start to think long-term now. Let's say Fred Warner is out for the year, which we don't know just yet. You added Nick Bosa, and you have to ask yourself, how far can this version of the San Francisco 49ers go? And obviously, it's only week 6. Like, that is the worst part about this. You lose against Tampa Bay. It sucks. You're still in first place in the NFC West. Yeah, you've lost some ground, but you're still in first place. The sky's not falling just yet, but I'm sorry. If you do not have Fred Warner, if you do not have Nick Bosa, your uphill climb with the easiest schedule in football, it becomes one of the harder schedules in football. Like, you are not going to find much success against mediocre quarterbacks, let alone great quarterbacks like Baker Mayfield is now, and hope to win games on the road. And let's call it like it is, Mark. San Francisco narrowly beat the Rams. They narrowly beat the Cardinals. They narrowly beat the Seahawks. They narrowly won against the Saints.
All their wins.
You're going to lose.
All their wins could be losses. Yeah.
One-score game. You are going to lose games like this when you don't have Fred Warner operating the middle of the football field. He is the best linebacker in football, bar none. You can't get a pass rush, and when you do get a pass rush, you can't bring the guy down on 3rd and 14. It's like, what's going on?
But Sterling, it was late third quarter, Niners down by 8, 27-19 was the score, and the Niners got the Buccaneers into a 3rd and 14. A 3rd and 14. They were aided by a hold on Tristan Wirfs. Didn't really look like a hold to me. The Niners got a little bit lucky on that one. Backs them up to a 2nd and 20. Ultimately becomes a 3rd and 14. And for one of the few times all game long, the Niners cleanly got pressure on Baker Mayfield. 2 guys, Bryce Huff and Trevis Gibson, they had Baker Mayfield, Sterling, dead to rights. Absolutely dead to rights. Late third quarter, 3rd and 14. He ducks to shrug off Travis Gibson. Bryce Huff is on his backside, can't quite grab a hold of him, steps up in the pocket, rolls left, extends the play, breaks another tackle, somehow is able to juke 3 dudes out of their shoes and extends for a first down. It should have been 4th and 23. Instead, he scrambles for 15 yards on 3rd and 14, gets the first down. Niners don't get the ball back. It was at that moment, Sterling, I ultimately was proven to be wrong. It was at that moment. Pardon me, I said it was 27-19. It was only a 1-point game at that point, 20-19, and then 2 plays later, it was the 45-yard deep shot to Tez Johnson for a touchdown. Niners go down by 8. They ultimately don't score, and they lose that football game. When you are so already weak, Sterling, in terms of a rushing the passer category, when you have those opportunities, you have to take advantage. That, to me, felt like turning point number 1 where the Niners lost the game. There were some other moments, but you just can't let that play happen.
I was sitting on my couch, my entire family, haven't seen him in 14 years, right?
Wow.
Said, hey, when Baker Mayfield breaks out of the sack, I threw my hands up and said, you gotta be kidding me. This is the game. It's over. It's over.
Yeah.
And they were like, why are you getting so animated? So then I go, because this is what happens. When you let Baker, who I don't think was great in this game, he had a couple of nice drives, obviously a couple of big throws, but ultimately he didn't have a Baker Mayfield 300-plus passing yard game, 3 touchdowns. It wasn't like Baker has been.
I mean, he
was
to be fair,
phenomenal.
To be fair to Baker, he's throwing to 4th and 5th and 6th stringers.
Oh, right. Well, 100% correct, but it wasn't like San Francisco's defense was playing terrible football up until that point.
Yeah.
But Fred goes out, you miss the sack, you give him the first down, he's out there flexing on your linebackers and your defensive ends, and you're sitting back like, what just happened?
Yep.
We just got shell-shocked. Then Marquis Seagull out there flat-footed like, I don't know how to cover a wide receiver down deep, 35 yards downfield, runs right by him. The dude got 5 yards out, put his hand up and said, game over. Like, it was bang, bang, night, go San Francisco. So, yes, those are the 2 plays. The back-to-back back-breaking plays for San Francisco. You said it was a 1-point game. You go down, now it's 8 points, and it felt like that was the more demoralizing loss for them when those 2 plays happened. Yourself, I said it. I'm sure every Niner fan said, well, wrap it up. Terrible Florida trip, and let's come back home against the Falcons.
Yeah, and yet somehow, even once that happens, Baker Mayfield, dead to rights, escapes, converts a 3rd and 14 with his legs. 2 plays later, 45-yard bomb. Instead of only being down by 1 and getting the ball back in the 3rd quarter, you're down 8. Even with all that, Sterling, even with all that, and the Niners didn't score on their next drive. There was a Levante David strip sack that it was originally called a strip sack, a fumble, and he recovered, ultimately overturned. Not a fumble, but still a sack. Niners have to punt. They don't score on that drive. Even with all that, the defense steps up and gets a stop the next drive because they force McLaughlin into a missable field goal. He misses from 49 yards out. Still a 1-score game. Plenty of time left. You get the ball back. Mac Jones gets sacked on first down. You ultimately line up to punt on 4th and 4 from near midfield, catch a major break because Vita Vea, the only bad play he made all game long, he dominated, by the way, dominated the middle of the Niners' offensive line. And we got to talk about the offensive line.
Which, that's not hard to do, by the way.
It's not.
Let's be honest about it.
Vita
not
Vea,
much of an accomplishment there.
Vita Vea, one of the biggest, most ferocious nose tackles in the NFL. He generally wins his matchups. Let's just say he was licking his chops today because he knew the interior of that Niner offensive line is, we can just say it, bad. Frankly, bad.
They stink.
They're really, really bad. We'll talk about that in a sec. But the only mistake that Vita Vea made was on a Niner punt with a little more than 7 minutes left in the 4th quarter. He ran into Thomas Morstead, extending the Niners' drive. And in that moment, Sterling, the opposite of what I was thinking when Baker ran for the first, and I'm thinking, oh my God, that might be the play that swings this game back to the Niners' side. But they just can't get going offensively in that point. There was a Dominic Pooney false start on a 4th and 1, really 4th and inches that they were lining up to go for it, which 4th and inches, right decision, go for it. Even though you're in field goal range, you're down by 8. Still with plenty of time left, but you want to try to score a touchdown, and 4th and inches, you go for it. Then 4th and 6 from the Tampa Bay 34 with about 6 minutes left. You decide to go for it, and Mac Jones looks for Juwan Jennings, throws it into double coverage. It's picked off, whatever. You're throwing it anyway. It's a turnover. If it doesn't get caught, the interception doesn't really matter. You force it in there, see if you get lucky. But that Pooney false start really hurt them. They can't take advantage. I was wondering if Shanahan was thinking about kicking the field goal after the false start, because you still had a lot of time and 2 timeouts. Now, ultimately, the offense didn't really get you a stop after that anyway, so maybe going for it was the right decision. But you got a major break. The Vita Vea running into the punter, a major break, Sterling, and the Niners unable to take advantage. You can't give other teams breaks, and then when they give it back to you, not take advantage and expect to win football games.